Okay, today what we've got here is an old musket given to me a long time ago, and it has just sat around and sat around. You can see that a lot of it's rusted up, and the wood is never really, it's finished once, but it's in bad shape. It's super dry. The barrel's rusty. The trigger mechanism's all rusted. The plunger, the material down the barrel is all rusty. And we're going to clean this up, stain part of it, soak her down with oil, and see what happens. I don't think I've ever worked on one of these before, but we're going to see what we can do with it. At least get it taken apart. Take the rod out. Screw the couple screws here, it looks like. That should hold the barrel on. And we'll get rid of the trigger housing, what holds the barrel to the stock back here. Trigger housing. That screw should come out if I can find it. Go. There's that. Now we'll take the firing mechanism out. Okay, let's see here. This part apart. Move my precious oil. Move this off. This should come off. Now we've got broke down just about as far as we want to break her down. So that's the first part. Got a couple copper brushes here, one stainless, one copper. Let's put a little oil. Let me put something underneath this. Let's soak this down with oil. Brush it down good. Get it soaking wet. You can see it's soaking wet. Now we'll take the copper brush and rub on a little bit. Now it's kind of turned into mud a little bit. I know we're doing some good. Let's use a little more over here. Let's wipe this off and see what we got. Continue. You can see that we're doing a pretty good job with getting it off. I'm going to go ahead and continue this barrel, and we'll be right back. Thank you. Okay, now you can see that we've continued to work on this part of it, and I want to show you the ending results here. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now, we're going to go ahead and start on this barrel. Looks like rust, and maybe at some point they tried to glue it or something. I don't know, but it's in pretty bad shape. But that's where we're headed to next. We're going to finish the barrel, then we're going to stain the wood. After we stain it, then we're going to soak it with the Regal oil. Had a little help from Mr. Steel Wool. What we do is we soak this barrel down And we soak the plunger down, and we're going to go over it one more time with steel wool. Make sure I can get it nice and smooth. You can see that just by using the Regal oil and a metal brush, which would be copper or stainless, that it gets rid of all the rust. Gives you a little workout as far as bad as this thing was. In normal situations, why, it's not near that bad. Not near this bad anyway. But as a Vietnam vet, I'm telling you, I'm glad we didn't have to use these things. Because it takes too long to clean it. Alright. So now you can see the ending result just by using Regal oil. Now, what we're going to do, here's this plunger, and it was completely full of rust. Now what we're going to do is make sure we get the inside of the barrel clean, and I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to take the top off of it. Soak it, put this whole thing in there and soak it down. The reason why, because I know what kind of shape this inside of this barrel's in. There's no through shot on this, so I want to make sure that I get this all the way down. See, because you can see that they don't have, you don't put bullets in it, so it's powder, it's all welded on the end. So I want to make sure I get all the rust out of the inside. Back and forth several times. Alright, we'll pull this thing out now. Woo-wee! Look at that. That's just swabbing the oil. Mercy. Alright, let's go ahead and scratch her up. See what we can scratch up the rust on the inside. More rust. Boy, you see it flaking off there. So, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and swab her again. See what we got. Okay, put this on there. This on there. I'll use a couple of pads. Put them together. Now let's go after and see what we got. Get this out of the way so you can see the end of the barrel. Pretty bad stuff. Anyway, we'll keep working with this. Oiling it, plunging it, till we get this barrel clean. Okay? Meanwhile, it works. Okay, we finally got the bore cleaned out, and it's nice and clean on the inside, not too many pits. We have a bore light that we look into it to check all that out. Then I started cleaning up a little bit of brass. Doing nothing but using Regal oil and little steel wool and some little pit places. I had to use the little wire brush there, but come pretty clean. Now, I know there's other things you can use, but in this session we're not using anything but Regal oil. So just to see what it do, show the folks out there what it'll do. And the fact is, hey, this stuff's skin friendly, you can breathe it, you don't have to have the windows open, and still works. When I was in the military, well, we had to use this thing called Brasso, and it worked pretty good. But as you can see, the difference here, this is a before, this is after. So quite a difference just using Regal oil. Okay? So I'm impressed. And with the coating of Regal oil on there, the light coat, I know that it's not going to turn on me very quickly. So it'll last a lot longer than Brasso. We'll get all this. This is brass also, so you know that's going to look really sharp, that in the back. We'll get some oil on that and start scrubbing that and get that cleaned up for you. Get all this stuff out of the way. Rub it in real good. I'm going to wipe it off here just to show you what the difference is, and I'll go ahead and finish it. Just so far, we have this. So I'll go ahead and finish it, and we'll be right back to you. Okay? Okay, now you can see that I found a way to get this off. I'm going to get this off, this trigger mechanism. I'm going to set this over here. Got this trigger mechanism off. There's a little deal there with it. Some screws. Then I want to go over this brass one more time. Some steel wool. We've been over with the brush. But I got to use a brush to get in and around those screws, because the steel wool is more of a flat surface thing. So now we are getting some oil in the wood. That's okay, it's not going to hurt a thing. And so wipe it off. And you can see the before and after just using Regal oil. Not bad at all. So we continue. I like to take this off because you don't remember what the other part looked like. That's what it looked like, you remember, on the inside. So I've got to clean this part out. And I'd like to take this brass off so that in the when I stain it, why it won't I don't want to stain the brass. Okay, so I'll have to clean that up a little bit also. You see how that's turned green. Get this off. So, and you see what this looks like on the outside and on the inside. So we'll get all that cleaned up. Then we'll get this wood cleaned up right off the bat. And then we'll stain it so that can be drying for tomorrow. Alright. Still a lot of work to do. Okay, this is day 2, and I wanted to show you that we got all the brass pieces cleaned up. This was the other part. Remember, the inside was so bad. We got that taken care of. We got the trigger mechanism all cleaned up and ready to go back on. I showed you that difference between these two pieces at one time, and we've got it all cleaned up, ready to go back. And this is the other piece. I think I showed that to you yesterday. And this is the inside, got that all cleaned up, had a bunch of green material on it. And then we got the back side of this taken care of. So I think we got all of our parts and pieces cleaned up. These was kind of dingy and we cleaned them up. Using nothing but Regal oil. And head of our bolts we got cleaned up. And then this is that extension that was full of rust, and I finished cleaning it up. So all ready to go now on putting it back together. First thing I want to do is sand these pieces, or I've always sanded these, light sanded this. So what we're going to do now is get that little coating put on those, then wipe down so we can put it back together. Okay, so what we've done so far, we went ahead and varnished it. Doesn't look too bad. Not didn't varnish it, we stained it, I'm sorry, we stained it. And what I'd like to do now is put some oil on it. And the reason why I'd like to put plenty of oil on it, because the wood has been so dry that I'd like to oil it up. And even if I decide to put any polyurethane or anything like that on it, the good part about this oil is that it will not fish eye or anything like that. That's almost unheard of, that you can use an oil on something and it will not fish eye if you want to paint it. In this case it wouldn't be paint, but it'd be a clear coat like a polyurethane. So we'll oil it down real good. And I want this to soak in. Unfortunately, we'll have to come back again tomorrow before we put it together. But I want you to notice that we did stain the inside of it, because if any moisture gets in the inside of it, we want to make sure that it's protected. So you want to go ahead and stain it on the inside, oil it, get that oil to soak into the wood so that later on it'll last forever. We'll make sure it's all oiled down real good. I won't hang it like that, and let that oil soak in. Then we'll go ahead and do this other piece. You can see it makes a heck of a difference. It looks like it's varnished right there, doesn't it? So we'll do that. Make sure you do the inside. And we'll set that, we'll let that hang too. Because I want that oil to soak in as much as possible before I go any further. Okay? So, got that done, I want to make sure that the barrel, even though we've cleaned it and it's got a little bit of oil on it before I put it together, because the bottom of it's going to sit in that wood and never be touched again. I want to make sure that the whole barrel and all that's been oiled good before we put it back together, and all the pieces. So we'll continue this tomorrow and put the thing together, and we'll be done. All right, have a good day. Okay, we got it all back together, and we've oiled it down with the Regal oil. Nothing will rust, everything will stay good. Make sure that the firing mechanism works. Yep, everything's good to go. One click should not, nope. Second click, yep, okay. So this baby's ready to fire. Tell you what we'll do, we'll wipe her down. Just a little bit. I like to leave a little bit of oil on them. Especially if I'm going to hang it up. If I'm going to handle it, no, I'll wipe it dry. But finished product. Good looking musket. Be great to sit on top of a fireplace. Inside the door, got it all brand new. And we got our extension in there, a packer, little bag of extra screws and pins. Looks great. Again, have a great day. Thanks.